Fuck off.
I've had a few secret passages built into the ship. You know, just for fun.
Okay, mental.
Captain Storm, Cosmium Raider, is a pirate that I had glanced over during Lost Caverns of Ixalan, but when looking for a spicy new pirate commander, she certainly caught my eye. If you load every +1/+1 counter on Captain Storm, she makes for a very strong Voltron commander. Equipment is going to be a vital part of making Captain Storm strong, but treasures entering the battlefield are going to play a big role as well. Don't forget artifact lands to trigger your commander. Silver Bluff Bridge, Darksteel Citadel, Seat of the Synod, and the Great Furnace are great includes, even if they do die to a Vandal Blast or a Farewell. This deck is loaded to the brim with turn 3 artifacts. Some of them cost 1 mana, but it is vital that you do not play them until Captain Storm is out, so she can get her counters. Even Soul Ring should be saved until turn 3. We have a very high density of cheap artifacts, so there's actually a good chance that you can play a Soul Ring into a 1 to 2 mana colorless spell and get an extra +1 counter on your commander. Beamtown Beatstick, Diamond Pickaxe, Gold Vein Pick, and Prying Blade are all going to be amazing turn 3 plays for us. We'll play them, equip them, swing with them. They're all going to reward us with a treasure token. So that's another trigger on our commander. And then every turn after this, we're going to be making even more treasure. So incredible, incredible equipment in this deck. Jim Cutter Buccaneer, at his worst, will be making you a treasure, which will give Captain Storm a +1 counter, but chances are you're going to have more than one treasure lying around, so Jim Cutter Buccaneer can get Captain Storm up to lethal damage very quickly. Ring of Evos Isle and Ring of Vulcus are all-stars in this deck. Giving Captain Storm a +1 counter on every single one of your upkeeps is huge. It should not be understated how scary that makes Captain Storm so quickly. Not to mention, if Captain Storm is removed and we have to start from scratch, these things help get Captain Storm up really, really fast. So absolutely include these in the deck. Panharmonicon gets its value immediately. Normally, Panharmonicon, you have the problem of playing Panharmonicon, and it just sits around for a turn doing nothing. But when this enters the battlefield, it will see Captain Storm trigger, and immediately we're going to give Captain Storm 2 +1/+1 counters right off the bat. Panharmonicon is absolutely shining in this deck. Tarian's Soul Cleaver is my pet Voltron card. 3 mana total is a good rate to give your creature vigilance, but more importantly, it gives the equipped creature a ton of counters. Your 3 opponents are bound to be giving your Soul Cleaver value, but even if they aren't, sacking your own treasures will do the trick. We need to protect our commander, of course, but we don't want to blink or bounce her because we worked hard for those +1 counters. So phasing out is our premium option. Slip out the back and Vanishing will keep our commander safe from everything as well as preserve her power. Alright, I want to talk Brass Knuckles. So 5 mana is the going rate for double strike. You look at Fire Shrieker, that costs 5 mana total. It costs 3 to play, 2 to equip, 5 mana to give them double strike. Brass Knuckles, on paper, it looks like it costs 6 because you cast this for 4 and you need to pay the extra 2 to equip each of the Knuckles to give them double strike. However, we already run a lot of equipment in this deck, so chances are we only need to equip one of those Knuckles. And this spell, as opposed to Fire Shrieker, gives us 2 equipment drops instead of 1. So this outvalues Fire Shrieker in this deck as long as we have an equipment on our commander. Unfortunately, our commander has no evasion, so we'll have to compensate heavily for that. At the time of posting this video, I am running 12 pieces of evasion, including Trample, Menace, Flying, Unblockable, and Mass Bounce. The standout for me, though, is O Naginata, which we can play to make Captain Storm hit for a whopping 6 damage on turn 3. It's my favorite equipment to see in an opening hand. Unfortunately, our commander also has no card draw, and not just that, but we're playing a low mana curve deck, so it's really easy to run out of cards. Loyal Drake is a great include in this deck, even though it's not an artifact. Since our commander only costs 2 mana, we can drop this on turn 3 and just start drawing an extra card every combat. Midnight Clock is a must include in this deck because it is a 3-drop artifact, which is something that we really value in this deck. But it's going to give us a bit of ramp, and it's going to let us play out our whole hand without worrying and then stock back up when it triggers. Inspired Tinkering will give us some good impulse draw as well as treasures, so great synergy with our commander. And the last card draw I want to mention is Reality Chip, which while it doesn't exactly draw cards, being able to play cards from the top of your library is very, very powerful. And it's an artifact to boot. Now, you may not always want to target Captain Storm with her +1/+1 counters. Sometimes it's a good idea to get some scary pirates on the board and buff them up. Coastline Marauders is a favorite of mine, as it can easily threaten to take a player out of the game, and Stormfleet Sprinter can't be blocked, so stacking this creature up can spell game over for somebody as well. And Dargo the Shipwrecker, for those who don't know, can be cast for 2 treasure and 1 red mana. If you sack 2 treasures, he's discounted by 4. Then the floating 2 mana pays for 2 more. So you only need to tap for 1 more mana to get him on the field, and he's a great target for +1 counters and equipment. I feel like it's not too many decks you get to see Treasure Chest, but it fits in the curve perfectly because we can play it on 3, sack it on turn 4. You know, we're gonna make either 5 treasure tokens, which is phenomenal. Obviously, 5 treasure tokens, 5 triggers on our commander is great. Gaining 3 life and drawing 3 cards is fantastic, and getting a nat 20, if we get to search our deck for an artifact just put onto the battlefield, at least in my deck, I'm searching for 3-fold Thunderhulk. That is a little hard to say, actually. Threefold Thunderhulk enters and is going to make 3 artifact creatures, so that's going to get 4 triggers on our commander immediately, and every time it attacks afterwards, it'll make even more artifacts, so this just spells game over, basically, if this thing sticks around. Inspiring Statuary makes all of your artifacts, including itself, convoke non-artifact spells. So this is turn 3 ramp, basically. This deck sits right in the sweet spot that lets Inspiring Statuary shine. About half the deck is artifacts, which can help cast the other half of non-artifact spells. Discounting big spells like Brass's Bounty, Hit the Motherlode, River's Rebuke, or Angrath's Marauders. All of these will help us close out a game, and Inspiring Statuary helps us reach that so much faster. Don't forget, even if your equipment is attached to your commander, they can still tap, which is hilarious. Also, your treasure tokens can help convoke as well, so pretty neat. Lastly, I think it's worth mentioning Reaver Cleaver and Ember Cleave, which are obviously bangers. If they're in your budget, they're not in mine right now. I intend to add these eventually, but they're definitely a little pricey. Captain Storm is a low mana monster. Being able to ignore ramp and just focus so many cards on a powerful turn 3 play is the most fun I've ever had in any Voltron deck. Just remember, it's easy to run out of gas, so get your commander to a threatening position, then try to save those extra cards in your hand, and have fun killing your friends on turn 5 or 6. Seriously, you will have to be ruthless. Personally, I have a hard time knocking people out early, so I usually spread the damage out, even though that is definitely not the competitive way to play. So let me know what you guys think of the deck, and check out the deck list below. I love reading the comments, and I always take them seriously. You guys recommend some sweet cards. So thanks for watching, and subscribe for more weekly Magic the Gathering, League of Legends, Hunt Showdown, Overwatch, Lethal Company, Content Warning, Rocket League content. Have a nice day.